Welcome back to Live with RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2017, brought to you by Yamamoto Nutrition and Protan. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is the IFBB 2017 Tampa Pro Champ, Josh Lenartowicz. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, mate.
Sitting with Matt Jansen, his coach. Hi, Matt.
How's it going, Dave? Thanks for having us.
No, thanks for coming on. Are you guys still in Florida, or are you in Vegas now?
We're in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where I live.
Ah, okay, so you got out, Josh. You left.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah, devastating what's happening at the moment in the States.
Yeah, crazy, right? With the hurricane. You know, I lived in New York, and I suffered through Hurricane Sandy in 2012. Came to Florida knowing that you could have hurricanes, but I figured, you know, what's the odds of something like that happening again? And now we're facing, you know, a Category 5 hurricane, so pretty crazy. I know Flex Lewis and was getting out of there too, supposedly this week, just to play it safe. I think, who did we interview yesterday, Johnny, on the men's physique guy? Ryan Terry and Flex were leaving to try to get out of Florida, which is smart because, you know what, you don't want to be dealing with airports after a hurricane. It's just crazy.
No, hard to go out to everyone affected in Houston and, you know, possibility here.
Now, Josh, you came to the United States to be stress-free, and it's been anything, unfortunately, but that. You came in here, you won that Tampa Pro very convincingly. Give me on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rank how you looked in Tampa?
For my best, you're saying?
10 being your best, 1 being your worst. How did you feel you looked in Tampa?
Probably 6 or 7. Like, I was definitely fuller, but my condition needed to be improved.
Mm-hmm. Were you planning on doing that show, or was that kind of just like a last-minute warm-up for you?
Yeah, well, I wasn't qualified, so I needed to qualify for the Olympia still. And yeah, it's been a hard year for me because early in the year, you guys already know, I was setting up for the Arnold, and then we had a family member pass away, my wife's side, who's also a good friend of mine, and then another family member in hospital day and night. So I decided not to do the shows and be there for family, which was more important. Right. And then, so I signed up with ATP Science, who were going to be at the Olympia for the first time, and they just asked if I was going to do the Olympia, and I said I wasn't qualified and I need to qualify. So it gave me reason to, you know, get sorted and get training again and a bit of purpose, and and that's led me here.
So you were going to sit the Olympia out if you hadn't signed with ATP?
Yeah, I was going to sit the year out because I did it, you know, last year. You know, I've got a couple of great sponsors, Doherty's Gym and Muscle Mills Direct. But really, last year, all my shows were, you know, without a financial sponsorship. So I'm working and stuff, which is fine. I'm happy to work, but, you know, it gives other people a big advantage on me when they don't have to work as hard, you know, in laborious jobs and whatnot.
I mean, last year was a great year for you. I mean, you took third at the Arnold. I think you did like 7 shows. I mean, that's a tough mental and physical toll on your body just to begin with. I think it was probably, I thought it was a strategic move for you to take the Arnold off. I figured you wanted to just rest your body up a little bit, but I didn't realize that you had some deaths in the family. So that had to be tough. And then, you know, all of a sudden they tell you last minute, hey, we want you to do the Olympia. And so now you got to get into Olympia prep mode. Was it difficult to kind of turn your body around at that point?
I responded very quickly, and it wasn't, they just sort of hinted, like, they're very understanding people, and I just sort of want to, you know, bless them like they've blessed me. And I think for the first time that we've really had, you know, someone come outside of Australia as a supplement industry into America, I think it's a good thing to be a part of. So, yeah, that's why.
I mean, your body has been changing by leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. I mean, you're probably one of the bigger guys now up on stage. What was your stage weight in Tampa?
It was 270, around 270.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you'll bring for the Olympia? 265?
Around 265.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. So you think you're about 4 or 5 pounds, you could have been a little tighter?
Definitely, so especially through the hamstrings and and glutes. So I'm definitely being tighter there.
Now, I remember at the Olympia in 16, I actually liked your conditioning that you brought. I thought it was fantastic. I know a lot of people said, well, he's too flat, he looks small. I liked the way you looked. Were you upset with the placing?
No, because it was my first Olympia, and to get top 10 in my first try, I think it's always good to have an attitude of appreciation over expectation,
right.
And that way you can't ever really be disappointed. But it was hard because I thought I was one of the more conditioned guys there. And,
you are.
And but size, it is a size game as well. So muscle, it is bodybuilding, not body leaning, I guess you could say. So muscle should take precedence over condition in a lot of ways. And Chris says it really good. It's not a glute hamstring contest because you lose. You do lose that. You lose the fullness, you lose the roundness, you lose the freak factor that people love to look like just by getting that crazy condition. But at the same time, if you can have it all, why not go for it?
No, I agree. Now, as a man who's losing his hair and has been losing his hair himself, when did you decide to shave it? When did you decide to go?
It was after the Olympia, actually. It was in Barcelona I shaved it before that show, and it made me look bigger straight away. And I thought, I'm definitely doing that for every show. But it's funny, comments online, people were like, grow your hair back. And that's when you're fighting, the age factor. And my dad was bald, grandparents were bald. It's like, it's in my family.
When I saw the pictures from Europe, and I'm being completely honest, I'm like, who's that black guy up there? I don't recognize him. Because you were shave-headed, you were dark, you had the best tan. I'm like, who's that black guy? He came out of nowhere. And they said, that's Josh Lenartowicz. I said, oh my God, I didn't even recognize him. But you're lucky. You got a good face, so you could pull off either one. It doesn't matter.
Something funny, like when you're looking up, doing your poses from the wrist, and you can see the camera, the big screen. I didn't know which one I was, because now I'm all of a sudden bald, and there's like 4 other bald people. It's not enough.
Now you're the stereotypical bodybuilder with the bald head, the shaved head, right?
That's right. Got to feed into the stereotypes.
All right, let's take a turn and let's take us back to after the Tampa Pro now. You decide to stay in the U.S. You're going to live with Dallas McCarver. You're training at Flex Lewis's gym and then Busybody down the street. Take us through that unfortunate night when you came home and unfortunately found Dallas on the floor.
Yeah, look, before we start, we want to send both Matt and I our condolences out to the McCarver family and everyone affected. And it's a terrible thing, and it's been very hard for us to deal with, obviously. We want to just send our appreciation to everyone that's reached out to us as well, from all around the world to show their support, and that's been an amazing thing, and there's been so much love for him, and I think it's a great way to honor such a great person. But getting back to that night, it was a great day, and it was a great couple of weeks with him as well. Matt stayed a week before with us, and it was quite, I don't know how to say it, but he went and did all his things that he wanted to do. He went to his favorite restaurants, went to the beach, held his friend's baby. So he'd done all these amazing, sentimental things before his untimely passing. But it was Monday night, and we trained together that day. And you saw him lifting 160-pound dumbbells for like 20-something reps or whatever. He was just so damn strong, right? And it was a great day. Had fun together. And then I went to do my cardio at night, and he was cooking his meal, and we're having a laugh together, and everything was great. And and I just said, I'll catch you later. And he said he had a guest appearance in Memphis, and I asked if he wanted to lift and to the airport, and he's like, no, I got it, man, and I'll catch you when you're back from cardio. And then I went and obviously did cardio and come back, and it was like nearly close to midnight, and I just found him, and he was just face down and blue, and I just ran in straight away and started doing CPR, and while I was doing CPR, I tried to contact 911, and it was from there, and that was the shocking thing for me. And I just want to clear up. I've done first aid training a couple of times, and with what I've said in the 911 call, I had no idea what it was, why he was a healthy 26-year-old who was doing heavy ass lifting that day. So what could have caused it? I thought maybe it was choking. something else. I just gave them as much information as possible to save him, because I just wanted him to be alive at that point. And if there's anything that the paramedics could do that could help him, that's what I've been trained to do. You give him as much information as possible. And it's just sad because people have ran with it and said it's this and it's that, and Josh said it was that, and I didn't know. I didn't know what he was doing in his own activities and his own diet and his own plan. I just thought, why else would someone that fit and healthy, strong at that age be face down? They asked me, they cut the interview out. Like, they asked me, was he on opiates? And I said no, but they don't put that in the friggin' interview. They just say once.
Well, they heard insulin, and that's all they have to do is hear that, and then, oh, it's bodybuilding. First of all, insulin doesn't kill you, okay, like that. It doesn't. He didn't take a whole bottle of this stuff. So, people are idiots. They want to blame bodybuilding drugs. Look, Rich Piana died, and because he had some hormone replacement bottles in his house, they said, oh, steroids. It's unfortunate that the press and media do that, but obviously.
He was eating a whole meal. Like, that's why I try to time it. Like, how long must he have been out for? Because I did cardio for like an hour and then stress, so that's an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
And by the time he was cooking his meal still, so his meal was completely gone, and that's why I thought maybe it was like 30 minutes between, 5 and 30 minutes that he could have been out for.
Right.
And, I wish I was there and, beat myself up a bit more that things could have been different, but we just, believe that God's got a plan for everyone, and that's just how it is.
It had to be very difficult for you. I mean, it's one thing finding someone, obviously that's traumatic enough, but I mean, you had other losses earlier in the year. I mean, you have to start, questioning, man, am I being challenged here? Am I being tested by someone up there? How do you take that negativity, take that potential, the loss in your life, and you turn that into positive energy to be able to focus on the show and, block out, because some people could fall apart from that. Obviously, you're a strong individual. You were able to, grieve for a couple of days and then get back to what, it is that you're passionate about, what you love, and what Dallas would want you to have done. How do you do that? What was the mindset going on at this point?
That was the big thing you said then. It was like Dallas would want me to do it, and Matt has been through a lot as well recently, and he reached out to me, and Ashley, his partner, said it as well, and so did Flex. Like, they said, you want to do it for Dallas, and early in the year it wasn't for that, it was for family, and that's not my decision to make to compete or not. It's for me to be there for my family, whereas now it's someone who understands the sport, who wants me to continue with it. But I'm into this sport not just for bodybuilding, but for a position of leadership. And what kind of leader would I be if when the times get hard and adversity strikes and stuff like that, and I can't step up to the plate and man up and get the job done? And as hard as it is, and I hope to be my best, stress does take a big toll on me, and it has been extremely stressful. And I just want to say, like, my appreciation for guys like Matt, his partner Jordan, and my wife Liz, and Ashley, his partner, everyone who had been there really helped me out and helped me to just focus on this goal at hand. And it's a terrible thing. I like to say that I only spent a couple of days grieving, but I'm still grieving now, and we all are. So,
Matt, let me ask you a question, because Dallas had been working with you for quite some time. He left you and started working with Chad Nichols, which everyone was kind of confused about, to say the least, because he was getting such good results with you. What happened there? Can you fill us in on why the why he temporarily left you, and then how you guys got back together?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of crazy, but Dallas and I did an interview on this exact thing 3 days before he passed away. But Dallas, he basically just wanted to test the waters and see, with Chad's reputation, with working with bigger guys, what could be accomplished there. And it was a very hard thing, for Dallas and I to go through, because I didn't see it coming. It was hard for me in the sense that, especially in a sport that's judged off of placings and progress, like everything that we had done thus far had all been progressing forward. So, it was a hard few months for us. And the point that Dallas left, he and I didn't speak all the way up until 2 days out of the Arnold. I saw him in the gym and just walked up and gave him a hug. I told him I wished him the best. And then he also, my wife is pregnant, so he congratulated me on that. And then we just kind of went on. And then after prejudging of the Arnold, he came up and shook my hand and like asked how I thought he looked. And I just kind of gave him like I wasn't going to get in the middle of it. So,
sure.
I just kind of left it at that. After he did the New Zealand show where he took second to Brandon Curry, I just sent him this long message and I kind of, aired out some of my frustrations. And then I also said, hey, like, I know that you're out there by yourself. This is your first time traveling by yourself. And I just kind of bullet pointed some things that worked very well for him in the past that I felt like he might not have been doing. And he sent me this, very long thank you message and then thanked me again the next day. And then after he passed out on stage in Australia, that morning, it was like a 2-text conversation back and forth. And then I just called him and we spoke for over 2 hours that morning, U.S. time. And just kind of got back to where we were before. And we initially just wanted to kind of restart our friendship that had been kind of disrupted. And during that time, Chad Nichols actually sent Dallas a message, and the message said, hey, I can tell that the fire that you have for bodybuilding wasn't the same as what it was as when you were with Matt. He said, I recommend that you go back up, you apologize to Matt, shake his hand, and you guys get back to doing what works. And Dallas and I had already been talking at that point, so that was kind of like a huge factor for Dallas and us starting together again, which led to where we were today. And as Josh talked about, I want to say 2 things, but the week that I got back home on Sunday, Dallas passed away on Monday, so I was down there all week. Dallas and I actually filmed training every day that week, which hasn't been released yet, but we do have that footage. But Dallas was the happiest he's ever been in his life. And I think that's something that's kind of crucial in this whole thing is that Dallas died doing and living the life that he wanted to live. And I think in the midst of people being negative and talking and everything else, at the bottom of the line, Dallas was chasing his dreams. He was doing it to his fullest potential, and he was loving, what he was doing. So that's a huge thing for me in the sense that I have some peace there is that we had a great last week together. It's kind of crazy that we got it all on video. And Dallas passed away in that kind of state. Like he was just loving life. And then also too, within what Josh did and the phone call that he made, I just kind of want to challenge everybody that's listening to this that if you are dealing with somebody in the bodybuilding industry that passes out, that has any type of medical emergency, it's up to us, those people that are surrounding that individual, to be as honest and upfront as possible with whoever you're speaking to in terms of the medical profession. So what Josh did was extremely courageous. I think a lot of people would try to not be upfront, not be honest, but Josh wanted to do the best thing that he could for Dallas in that instance, and that was do whatever he could to save him.
Right.
So again, it's just that's what I think needed to be done in that instance. And Josh wasn't saying anything that was 100% fact. He was just laying everything on the table that could have potentially been at play. So,
do you think, Matt, that Chad had anything to do with Dallas's passing out on stage?
I think that's a risk that any bodybuilder that steps on stage could potentially go through. I don't think it's necessarily Chad's fault, in any way. I mean, I could have somebody pass out on stage. There's so many variables, the travel, Dallas being sick, there's so many variables at play there. I would never just blame that on a coach.
Do you think there was dangerous stuff being done that you might not have done had you been working with him?
I'd rather not answer that.
Okay, that's respectful.
Look, I work with Chad, and I think Chad's amazing, and he's a great person, and I just feel like he's had people just accusing him and throwing him under the bus for no reason as well, I feel, and you know how it is, Dave, you're a prep coach, people live their lives the way they want to live, and I don't think the prep coach should have to take full responsibility for something that's happened anyway. It's like, he's done a great job, and he's been someone who's people have gotten advice from. And no one's putting a gun to anyone's head. Like, you can do what you want with your own life.
Yeah.
Full stop.
And that's something that Dallas would always take credit for, honestly. Like, he was never one to point the finger in any other direction except for his own, you know. So, and within me saying, I don't know, like, it's kind of funny, but when Dallas and I got back together, we honestly didn't discuss anything that he did with Chad, because what he and I did together worked very well. So I really wasn't interested in what he did with Chad. Not that I don't respect Chad, but I just was confident in what I was doing with him.
Right.
You know, so, and again, when it goes back to him passing out on stage, I think there's so many variables at play that the coach is the least to be the finger pointed at that point.
What do you think about what Sean Ray said? He was pointing fingers at Chad more than anyone, you know, saying that Chad was going to kill Dallas, and now, you know, after Dallas dies, you know, Sean puts up a picture of the Grim Reaper. I mean, like, Sean is actually almost gloating, like, over this thing, which is, I think, is disgusting. But
yeah, I mean, that you know, it's not just Sean, but a lot of people that have taken this and turned it into a negative thing, or turned it into something besides celebrating Dallas's life and the life that he lived is frustrating for me. You know, because a lot of people don't even know the Dallas that I knew, you know, and the life that he lived and the person that he was. So just kind of focusing on all the negative in a time where it was very hard on us that loved him dearly, you know, that wasn't helping anything out, you know. And I think there's a time and a place to say something, and there's a time and a place to say something if you're concerned in a respectful way. And, you know, within the first week that somebody passes away, I don't think that's the time for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I will say this. I'm going to stick up for Sean here. What Sean said in terms of Dallas's video that was posted of his posing in front of Mannion, I think was 100% on point. And I told Dallas that, and Dallas agreed with me. I think Dallas was kind of a little upset of the approach. But in terms of, like, the bottom line of what was shown and how it was shown and how Dallas was portrayed, I think was 100% on point.
You know, I think as well, and I could be mistaken, but you guys have a voice and, you know, a platform to people to listen from, and we're in this new era of bodybuilding where we've got previous champions who are commenting on the sport, and a lot of it's pessimistic and negative, and that just reflects poorly on the whole sport. I mean, it's fine to say some things here and there about an athlete, but when you're constantly bagging someone out, and that's why, no disrespect to Sean, but all I've heard from his mouth most of the time is just negativity.
Yep.
And for someone who's got, you know, a level of accomplishment in the sport, who's just constantly negative all the time, like, I'm glad that he doesn't have his mic now to talk, because it's like you're taking the sport backwards. Yeah. And I'm being completely honest here. Like, if I was, and hearing that stuff with, like, Ronnie, man, I just lost all respect for Ronnie as well. Ronnie Coleman in that instant.
I don't know what he was talking about. He sounded like he was like out of the world.
Both did. We thought Ronnie was, if there was a world record, Ronnie did it in 2003, and, you know, he lived his life for other people to follow, and then he's, you know, having a dig at them for following in his footsteps. Right. Who are you? What kind of person are you?
Yeah, that was really disheartening. You know, I could say firsthand that the only person that Dallas wanted to beat in the gym in terms of numbers and in terms of things that he lifted was Ronnie. Like, he always wanted to make him proud. Every time he saw Ronnie, he always wanted to get a chance to talk to him. And then, you know, within literally an hour of him passing away and the news getting out, Ronnie saying the things that he said, it really was heartbreaking to me.
Why do you think Ronnie said that? You think Ronnie is just like lost his mind? I mean, you would think he would have said no comment. Or do you think they kind of bamboozled him, you know? Because Ronnie sometimes can be taken advantage of too.
Man, it's like, why can't people just follow in Lee Haney's footsteps? He's a great leader.
Yep.
Why can't they? Like, I just got so much appreciation for him. But, you know, people like Ronnie get on there and try and, not to say he's not relevant anymore. I mean, he's left his mark. You don't need to do any more than that.
Right.
Just be a good role model and encourage other people, and don't get on there and knock the whole sport for what, you know, made you who you are.
You're 100% right. Let me ask you this question. We've been debating on Iron Debate health screening. I think my proposal is that not necessarily that the federation make or finances health screening. I think that each pro athlete should have a certain physical echocardiogram, blood work that they need to submit once a year to show that they're healthy to compete. would you as a competitor, as a pro competitor, Josh, would you have a problem with that, or do you think that's something that maybe would be a good safeguard to catch maybe these illnesses or these underlying conditions that maybe have never been diagnosed before?
I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. And I think anyone, especially once you're post 25 years old, you should be getting your blood tests anyway. You should be getting, you're seeing a cardiologist. You should be seeing, specialists to try and make sure you're on track. And it's like we've got, we're in a time now where we've got so much knowledge and so many health professionals. I think it's silly not to take advantage of them and just make sure your health's in check and get regular tests anyway. So, I mean, any sport.
Yeah, I mean, every professional sport, you have to get a physical at the beginning of the year. So I don't see why bodybuilding should be any different. Maybe do it in December when everyone's kind of off season, and have people, go to their doctors, get a certain letter of clearance, and they submit it to the IFBB, and then that enables you to compete for the year. I don't see why people would be against that. I mean, that's only going to help the sport. It's not going to hurt it in any way.
For sure, but there's like how many diseases, how many illnesses, how many tests you have to do. Like, it's just...
Well, there's certain health checks that you can do, and like I said, an echocardiogram, an EKG, blood work to see if your liver and kidneys are functioning, blood pressure, blood glucose levels. I mean, these are just general health markers that a lot of bodybuilders out there don't know. They have no idea because they don't go to the doctor, because they don't want to know, or they go to the doctor and they don't want to admit that maybe I have a problem and I should deal with it, and so they just kind of put their head in the sand. And I think, look, I was the first person to admit that I was guilty of that. Back in the day, I would go for blood work, and if the doctor would say, you this or that, I would just be like, I'd never go back. I just wouldn't want to deal with it, Not that anything terrible came up, but you know how these doctors are. If your enzyme levels are high, they read you the Riot Act. But certain things we know are going to be high in bodybuilders because of the way we train. But other things, if you have a dysfunctional left ventricle that's, putting out only 10% cardiac output, you got a problem, and you shouldn't be up on stage at 300 pounds, flexing. But, if something can be done for that, then, you might be able to live a longer life. And I think a lot of guys just don't know, they could be walking time bombs because of the genetics that they've inherited from their parents.
Yeah. No, I agree. Everyone should get that test.
Yeah. Josh, let's talk about your Olympia coming up, because a lot of people are saying you have the ability to be a top 4 Olympian this year with the size that you've made, the size improvements you've made, with the conditioning you're capable of bringing to the stage. How does it make you feel when you hear people talking like that?
I take the good with the bad, and it's nice to hear things, but then, someone's opinion doesn't make it reality. And all the athletes know, in the Olympia, they're all there for a reason. They're all champions. And I'm not doing the humble thing here, but anyone has the ability to, place in the top 6 if other people are off in that, with most of these Olympians now. So it's such a hard field, and I'm really going to do the best I can. And, teaming up with Matt, it's helped me a lot. So I'm fortunate there. And it's very hard for Matt because he's trying to learn my body within a matter of 5 weeks.
Sure.
Under stress and lack of sleep and everything that's going on. So, he's got a hard job ahead of him. But we're just going to try and do the best we can.
What was the impetus to? And first of all, who are you working with, and what was the impetus to switch to Matt?
Well, I wasn't. I've worked with Chad since turning pro, and then he'd write out his diets and stuff, and they were quite similar. So it was really just a matter of, he said, refining for me. And so the last couple of weeks, I'd hit him up, and he'd sort of guide me into a show in the last few weeks. And then, like I said, I just wanted to do it on my own, and a whole bunch of times I have done it on my own, my pro wins. And yeah, Matt just reached out to me, and that's sort of how it was. Him and Dallas were together at the house, and Matt's like, I can help you out. And I didn't want to get in the way of what him and Dallas had. Like, they had something, amazingly special. Yeah, it's just, but now Matt's reached out to me, and I just think it's, it feels right as well. And I've got a lot of respect for Matt. So it's been so far.
And you got out of the hurricane too.
Yeah. It's not like Josh can't do this on his own. I think it's more so, I think it's both, going back to the grieving process, I think it's helping both of us, because we have that common denominator, a couple common denominators. We love the sport. Dallas was my first Olympian. So it's just an important thing to me to be a part if I can, and when I came to Josh, it was really more so just me wanting to help get him out of the house and get him out of that constant reminder.
Right.
And also, a second set of eyes and somebody that can just help guide and correct I don't think is ever a bad thing, as long as your goal is for them to be their best. Mm-hmm. So that's really what it's been about for me. Josh has done all the work himself. I'm not going to jump up here and say I changed him or anything like that. It's about Josh brought himself into Tampa on his own. So he's very much worthy of bringing himself into the Olympia on his own. I just think some of the variables and circumstances that happened kind of made it so we teamed up to kind of just help each other and produce a better end result because of that.
And it was nothing at all against Chad. I've got a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation and thanks for all the help that he's given me. I don't think any coach should feel disrespected if someone just wants a new opinion and a new pair of eyes, and it's nothing against the previous coach whatsoever.
Yeah, no, look, I have guys that come and go all the time, so I mean that's part of the sport. People want to try different things. Did you guys both go to Dallas's funeral?
Yes, we did.
Explain what the scene was like there. Was there a lot of people there? Did you feel that it was a healing experience for you?
Yeah, for me, it definitely was. It was probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest day of my life, probably second to hearing that he passed away. Mm-hmm. But there was definitely some, I don't want to say closure, but there was definitely some peace that came through it. And I spoke, both Josh and I both spoke at the funeral. And I think that was good for both of us just to kind of be able to speak, our feelings for him publicly, speak to his family. But yeah, it was a very, very hard day. And it's going to be hard. There's not been a day that's gone by where it's not been hard, and I don't know, how many people know, but Dallas and I spoke on the phone every day for the past 3 years outside of the Arnold Prep.
Yeah.
So we just had a very, very close relationship. And that process isn't going to be healed in a matter of weeks or, months. So, but yeah, it was definitely a good service. I'm going to be honest. I thought there was going to be a lot more of the IFBB family that was going to be there. I did my best to reach out to a lot of the guys and let them know the service information, and honestly, nobody was there.
Really?
Outside of Flex and Josh. So that was a little discouraging to me, just because. And I know that the Olympia Prep is here, but I know Dallas looked up to and loved a lot of the guys, and I just felt that I thought some of them would be there, to support him, his family. So that was a little disheartening, but otherwise, I think the service was very, very good, and it was basically all just run by us, his family. So it was definitely a good overall service.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I know it's a hard day to remember back to, but I think a lot of our viewers out there and the fans of Dallas McCarver really wanted to hear what went on over there. And look, I think you're both very brave, Josh. I know you. I can't even fathom what you experienced when you went into that house and what vision is still in your head. But I want to just say that from the bodybuilding community, from RXMuscle, we all send our love and prayers out to everyone, the Dallas family, to you, to Matt, and I want to see you bring the best you've ever brought to the Olympia stage come a week and a half from now.
We're going to do our best. So thanks, mate. And like we said, our heart goes out to everyone affected from all over the world. Even in country Australia, country towns, I had prayer meetings and stuff for him, and it was just it just shows, if you live your life with purpose and drive, and he impacted so many lives, and that might not have ever happened if he didn't have bodybuilding in his life, and he would not have been so happy. So people can knock the sport and whatever they want, but the reality is, he had this ability to reach people, and he loved his life, and he did what he loved, and that was, I think, the most important thing in life, is to do what you love. So,
and that's really a take-home message, because you know what? Some people never get to do what they're really truly passionate about. He lived it for 26 years on his terms, and I think that you have to respect that. Everyone makes their own decisions in life, and he was taken from us obviously way too early, but like you said, he lived his life on his own terms, and he had a smile on his face every single time I saw him. So That's how I think we'll all remember him. And once again, best of luck on that Olympia stage. We'll see you in a week in Las Vegas, Nevada. Have a safe flight out there, guys.
Thank
you, Dave.
Appreciate it.
All right, and that is going to take us to the end of another episode of Live with RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2017, brought to you by Yamamoto Nutrition and Protan. I'm Dave Palumbo, and we'll see you next time.